When a person dies, the last rituals are performed as soon as possible without much of a delay. You may bury the body, you may burn the body, whatever the rituals are, they are done soon enough. However, a thing which is being noticed over here is a huge amount of delay. What is the delay here? Of almost 2 months of delay has taken place, and the body of the erstwhile supreme leader of Iran, Khomeini, has not been buried yet. So we will understand as to why is this delay and when it is going to happen. The idea is not to know the exact date, but to understand the strategic significance of the delay, the reasons for the delay, and what does it mean for Iran as well. Why is it delaying, and when can this be resolved, in the sense that the burial of Khomeini would be done. All this is what we will understand in this video. So the news is about Iran's supreme leader Khomeini, who was killed in the joint US-Israel strike in the month of February. That means it is almost 2 months now, in the month of February, and even after almost 2 months, his body has not been, or he has not been buried yet. Now this delay which has happened, basically it reflects a deep political security and a legitimacy challenge. So let's see, what are these political challenges, what are these security challenges, what are these legitimacy challenges, so on and so forth. So now Khomeini was killed in Tehran during the military airstrikes, that is clear. The burial site chosen for him is likely Mashhad. Now Mashhad, now this has not yet been finalized, it is just most likely that this is where he will be buried. It is his hometown as such, that's why this is where he will be buried. Now no official explanation has been given yet by the Iranian authorities as to why there has been such a long delay. But the article explains or try to give reasons for the delay. Let us understand that. So the very first thing with respect to the reason for delay is the risk of fresh strikes by US-Israel during the funeral itself, right? The war is ongoing, right? The peace talks have failed, the negotiations are ongoing, the countries are still at war. So what can happen is, during the funeral there can be further strikes by US and Israel on the funeral, destroying of course the body or the coffin that will carry the Ayatollah Khomeini's body, but at the same time there would be huge number of people also which would likely gather, and there can be airstrikes on the funeral gathering as well. Plus, since it's the funeral of the supreme leader, the ex-supreme leader of Iran, it has a very high symbolic value attached to it. That becomes a very highly symbolic target. And if USA Israel achieves to target that high symbolic value target, it is going to gain the psychological advantage over there, and you can say the determination or the mettle or the grit that the Iranians are having and fighting could be destroyed over there. Then there is a concern of mass mobilization. Mass mobilization, why we are saying that is because there is a precedent wherein in 1989 millions of people were on the streets during the funeral of the Ruhollah Khomeini, who was there. Now presently also it is possible that there will be millions of people, so they can also be target of the missile attacks. Plus it will become difficult for the Iranian authorities to control the millions, because they are also busy fighting a war as well, right? Another thing is that these mass or millions of people, they can also come out not just in support or in the presence or becoming a part of the funeral, but also in opposition to the regime of Iran. Because what was happening in Iran before the war, and it is happening now also, is the economic crisis, high inflation, no jobs, no employment, all those things were not there. People were protesting, they wanted regime change. So this crowd can also lead to huge number of crowds coming out and protesting against the present regime in Iran, which again will not be a good thing for the Iranian regime. Then what else can happen is, another thing is the fragile ceasefire. So during this peace talk, though this peace talks as such failed, but what had happened is, there was a claim that all right, we will have a ceasefire, at least the blockade of Strait of Hormuz will not be there, right? And even if they come to an agreement today that there will be a ceasefire, how sure will you be about that ceasefire? It may still be fragile, means easily breakable like the glass. Then there is political uncertainty, the succession issues. The issue here is Mujtaba Khamenei, who is reported as to be the successor, has been absent from the public view. So that is another concern for Iran. At the same time, it raises doubts about stability and leadership, as well as the internal power struggles. Why it will do that? Who is present in the funeral, who is not present in the funeral, why they were not present, so on and so forth, will lead to the internal conflicts being visible to the entire world with respect to the Iranian leadership. So that is again a concern. So these are the estimated reasons as to why this funeral has not yet taken place, right? Now, how can you resolve that? See, it can be resolved, or this ultimately gets taken place only if the peace is established for a certainty. With respect to a certainty, there needs to be certainty with respect to establishment of peace, then only then this may happen. In the near future, it does not seem to be happening as of now. Now, why Mashhad is being chosen as the place of burial? Because it is Khamenei's hometown. It houses Imam Reza's shrine. Shrine as in Dargah, it is basically the burial ground of Imam Reza. So that also has a religious significance to the place as well. And it is also one of the holiest sites in Shia Islam. So for the Shias, the follower of the Shia faith in Islam, for them it is one of the holiest sites that is there. It attracts millions of pilgrims annually. So burial near the shrine will enhance the religious legitimacy of the erstwhile leader also, and easier security control, because security is anyhow always tight in that region. So this is the reason as to why he could be buried over there. But remember, it is not confirmed yet. Now the broader context here is, Supreme Leader is nothing but one having the highest authority, who controls the military, judiciary, foreign, etc. Now the thing was that Khamenei controlled all these things together for a very, very long period of time. And when such a leader who controls literally everything for a very long period of time is no more, then definitely there will be issues with respect to the successors. Does one successor now controls everything, or do you divide it into multiple successors and there can be a conflict for becoming the successor as well? So it will lead to the crisis of successor. Then there can be crisis of legitimacy. There can be crisis of legitimacy. Legitimacy means who is the legitimate leader? You may place one leader, but Khamenei might have said that he does not want that leader in his lifetime. So there can be all these kind of issues that can come up. Plus, the delay in this burial actually showcases the fact that the Iranian state has weak capacity, and it fears that the public would react against them and protest against them. So it is showing Iran in a very weak light. Now, previously also I mentioned that massive mobilization of people was there in 1989, but it was a contrasting mobilization. Means at that time people were there to participate in the funeral. Now there is a possibility huge number of people would be here to protest against the present regime of Iran, which again will become a big issue for Iran. That is the idea. As a result of which the body is not yet buried, and since the peace, if it comes may still be fragile. So unless and until there is a certainty of peace remaining for at least foreseeable future, it is difficult to predict as to when the body would actually be buried. Thank you.